Happy Fridays. Angie here from Hidden Lava. So I'm trying my microphone out on this live, so hopefully you can hear me. So if you are watching and you are online, and just give me a thumbs up or a heart, and tell me that you're there so I can say hello to you. And I know you can actually hear me, otherwise I'll just unplug this microphone and use it from my laptop. So I'm here talking about the Grateful Thoughts, which is the second in the series of the mood hacks that I've been posting, a new little initiative and a series that I've just been posting for you all, just to help you along on your way of journey of discovery, so that you can shift your mindset into a more positive space when you need to. And actually, this is a very apt topic for the festive season. Just being grateful for other people around you. We can't do things alone. We can be very independent. And ask my husband. I am fiercely independent, and I have to stop myself and allow myself to be helped by others that love me and care for me and want to see me succeed around me, so that actually they can help elevate me and continue to encourage me. But we don't always see it. We don't always see it. We think we need to do everything on our own, and we need to be really strong, and we should know these things. We're adults, and we can do things by ourselves. But no one ever achieved, great things just doing it alone. If you look back in history and some of the real key pinnacle moments in history and the monumental moments, they didn't happen just by one person in isolation on their own. They happened because there were people around them that were able to encourage them, elevate them, and help them be a better version of themselves. And I talked about in the mood hack, when I posted this earlier in the week, about the power of the human spirit. Why is it that when we have a support network around us, that it can elevate us, and it can really have a huge impact on us as human beings? It's because we connect with one another. We are connective beings. There's something innate in our DNA that just wants to connect with each other. We live in a very isolated world, and we have to recognize that we are social creatures. We need other people around us. And a good example of somebody who has really achieved, something very monumental and great in life, because he's had people around him and the right people around him, is actually Martin Luther King, or Martin Luther King Jr. Of course, back in all of the segregation that was going on at that time in the US, there was a huge amount of adversity happening that he was facing. There was death threats. There was all kinds of things that he was facing, and he couldn't make the changes that then happened in history by himself. He had to have the right people around him. Do you think he didn't doubt himself when he was getting death threats, when he was getting arrested, when he was getting all of the adversity that he faced as a human being, standing up for what he felt was right? Of course he doubted himself. Of course there were negative days, but he had people around him that believed in the same thing and encouraged him to keep going. And of course, the most famous point in history for him is when he was in Washington, DC, and he did the big rally talk, and his opening words were, "I have a dream." And that was it. It was a big pinnacle moment for him. But for him to get to that point, he would have had people around him that he would have been grateful for, that really helped keep him in a place where he was able to keep serving humanity. Now, look, we don't have to be Martin Luther King to be able to apply this. We can apply this in everyday life. Like I say, we are social beings. We want to be successful in life, whatever that means to you. I'm not necessarily talking about money here, but there's certain things that we want in life. And as we're coming to the end of the year, you might be starting to recognize that actually some of the things that you have achieved this year wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for the people around you. Perhaps you had a bit of a bumpy ride at a certain point of this year, and you're really grateful for a particular friend that was able to recognize that actually you needed a little bit of help, you needed a bit of encouragement. They were able to guide you and put you back on track. Maybe for you, it was a family member. Maybe it was your mother. Maybe it was your father. Maybe it was a sister, a brother, maybe a colleague. There's people all around us that we have encounters with, that we meet on a daily basis. Some people we know really well, some people are strangers. but equally, they can touch us in very different ways that can inspire us and encourage us to keep going. So as we are approaching the festive season, I thought this would be a really nice topic and a mood hack to release as the second one. Because of course, when we are grateful, what does that do for us? You know, as human beings, when we reminisce and when we recall for the things that we are grateful for in life, what does that actually do to us as an individual? You know, it stirs up something positive. You know, it's the heart of positive psychology, of cultivating gratefulness. Because when we start to focus on the things that are going well, rather than the things that aren't going well, because we're very good at focusing on the things that aren't going well, but when we shift away from that and focus on the things that are going well, then it creates something different. There is a different emotion that is happening internally. There are different thoughts that are being processed and that are feeding off of that more positive vibe that is happening. And it actually it encourages us, and it gives us inspiration and hope that actually we can keep going with our best foot forward. So I just want you to think about somebody this year, whether you were going through a hard time, whether they just helped elevate you up to the next level in a particular area of your life, maybe as a professional, maybe as a parent, maybe just as a human being, as a better human being. Just, you don't have to tell them. They might get a bit shy. You know, we get a bit bashful, right, when people tell us these things. So I'm purposely not going to name anyone on this Facebook Live because they might get a bit bashful. But I know who they are, and I know how they have encouraged me and helped me along this year. In fact, there's several people that I can think of. And it might be the same for you. Maybe there's one particular person that jumps out. Maybe there's a whole bunch of people that you want to acknowledge and recognize. So just do that for yourself. You don't have to share it with them. You don't have to announce it. You haven't got to stick it on Facebook. You don't have to tell them. You're not doing it because you want some kind of validation or something coming back. That would be for the wrong reasons. Please don't do it for those reasons. You're doing it because you want to acknowledge to yourself that you have great people around you, and that they were able to, and you accepted their help, and it was able to progress you along a little bit further, and that you wouldn't be where you are today if it wasn't for that kindness, for that encouragement, for that wisdom and that help, that support, whatever it may be. So just take a moment and just, you know, as you're reflecting on the year, just think about who that is for you and why you're grateful. What is it that they did for you specifically that was an enabler for you to progress and to move forward. And then you can just bathe in the glory a little bit of how that feels, because it will start to stir up some positive energy. And as the law of attraction tells us, if we're thinking more positive, then positive things are going to continue to happen to us. If we go into the negative, then negative things will happen to us. So stir up some positive energy for yourself. Allow yourself to think about someone that you're very grateful for and the reasons why. And just, you know, that could be your little secret. Until next time, have a good weekend and have lots of grateful thoughts.